Welcome, style and strategy aficionados, to a new edition of Turkish series stars. Tonight we're not just admiring fabrics and cuts, we're decoding a message delivered without a single syllable. In entertainment, silence can thunder louder than applause, and the 2026 ELLE Style Awards gave us a masterclass. The spotlight found Sinem Ünsal and Ozan Akbaba, and together they decided to speak in glances, in posture, in a choreography of restraint that turned the red carpet into a chessboard. Before we peel back the layers of what really happened, join our inner circle by subscribing, tapping the bell, and showing love to this video so we can keep delivering these deep dives. For those who want to support Turkish series stars more closely, the join button is waiting. Now, settle in as we unravel why black became the boldest voice in the room. The gala could have drifted by as another glittered parade, but the air shifted the moment Sinem stepped onto the carpet, with Ozan a half pace behind, protective, present, and impossibly composed. She wore Mugler like a second skin, a black that didn't shimmer so much as swallow the light, turning every flash into mystery. This wasn't a look hunting for approval, it felt like a line in the sand. Her lips softened only briefly, her smile restrained, and her gaze seeming to aim at a horizon beyond the cameras, beyond the evening, beyond the noise. Ozan's tuxedo was severe in its precision, a frame that made his stillness speak. He wasn't there to outshine, he was there to amplify. Was it merely impeccable styling, or a deliberate broadcast that their next chapter would be written on their terms? Photographers recognized the frequency instantly. Lenses spun toward Sinem, then tracked the quiet geometry between her step and Ozan's, capturing moments social media immediately crowned a statement. Some praised the timeless restraint as a lesson in authority. Others read shields and battle plans into the darkness of her silhouette. Whispered threads connected the look to the pressure cooker of success, of expectations swelling after the triumphs everyone can recite, and of new projects looming. And then came the familiar murmur. Is Sinem blending with a role again? Fans have long projected the cool distance of Nisan from Esref Rüya onto her, a character whose strength looks like calm water until you see the current beneath. Could immersion in a role trail you into the spotlight? Or was the minimalism a strategy sharpened to a surgical edge? Here at Turkish series stars, we live for the psychology of fashion. You know the debate, when does method turn into myth? Could an actress carry the architecture of a character's mind into a public moment, blurring the line by choice? Drop us your theory below, technique or marketing genius? And if you're vibing with this investigation, your super thanks keeps us on the trail of stories others miss. Then the narrative widened. Fashion hawks noticed that the very Mugler design Sinem chose had history. Dua Lipa and Georgina Rodriguez had worn iterations of it before. That parallel lifted the conversation from local to global in a heartbeat. It wasn't the kind of comparison that diminishes, it was a hall pass to the world stage. Coincidence, or a carefully placed marker? Sources in the know insist the parallels don't rattle Sinem, they fuel her. For months, rumors have tied her to international scripts and cross-border collaborations. The dress, they say, was a signal flare, not just for Turkey to see, but for Paris, Milan, and London to catch. And Ozan? His body language said it without stepping on her moment. He was letting the spotlight gravitate to Sinem while anchoring the scene with quiet certainty. A duo becomes unstoppable when one holds the door as the other strides through. But loudest of all was the hush. They chose a ruthless version of less is more. Words were rationed. Answers were brief. Sinem let pauses do the heavy lifting, while Ozan answered in calm fragments that neither confirmed nor denied anything worth a headline. They didn't vanish, they hovered just beyond the eye of the storm, visible yet somehow untouchable, as if the crowd itself were their curtain. Some editors chalked it up to exhaustion from relentless filming days. Others saw a meticulous play. The true star doesn't always narrate, sometimes they let the room do the talking. Headlines multiplied with a familiar refrain, not smiling is a strategy, but what few noticed was the code in their micro-expressions. The almost imperceptible squeeze of fingers at the edge of a step and repeat. The tight smile Ozan offered when a reporter's question tried to bait a reveal. The language of two people who'd agreed in advance that their silence would be the loudest press release of the night. And yes, the Nissan aura hovered. That calculating serenity fans loved to assign to Sinem in Esref Rüya framed her shoulders, then trickled into the tilt of her chin. Could that be deliberate? Or did Sinem decide to let the image do what words couldn't, smother rumors with a silhouette? The truth may be less romantic and even more powerful. Dress the part of the future you're walking into, and the future will meet you at the end of the carpet. Ozan mirrored that choice with a restraint that read protective rather than possessive, the knowing confidence of a man who understands that star power is magnified when it's shared wisely. If you want to know whether a plan is unfolding, watch what happens after the lights dim. In this case, a quiet refrain started pinging among agents and editors. This wasn't a closing chapter, it was page 1. Invitations began stacking up on Sinem's calendar, from Paris ateliers to Milan front rows to London editorial sets. Talk of a secret cover shoot circulated, punctuated by NDA whispers and hotel lobbies where cameras are forbidden. The strongest rumor? A high-stakes project with a foreign digital platform, something sleek and international with room for a magnetic lead who can carry both steel and vulnerability in a single glance. And while chatter spun around Sinem's next move, Ozan's name threaded into separate conversations, a prestige limited series, a dramatic role that trades shouting for nuance, perhaps even a director's chair cameo to shape the story from inside and out. The couple narrative isn't just romance. It's symmetry, where each ambition feeds the other. Insiders swear the black was chosen for reach. The idea wasn't only to be seen, but to be remembered in the feeds of those who make worldwide decisions. That calculation seemed to pay in real time. One moment after the gala, Sinem's name surfaced in the same breath as two French fashion houses and an Italian jewelry empire, each angling to lock in a global ambassador who can cross cultural borders like a melody. Meanwhile, a luxury watch brand quietly asked about Ozan's availability, drawn to his decisiveness on and off screen. These aren't random ripples. In the marketing chess match, you don't move the queen unless the board is ready. The most spellbinding part? Nothing confirmed, nothing denied. Silence is no longer evasive, it's currency. In an era of overexposure, withholding becomes the most persuasive reveal. It says, we know our value, and we know you see it. It dares the world to lean closer. And the world did. Coverage multiplied. Clips of Sinem's entrance and Ozan's measured half-smile looped through timelines as if they held the map to something bigger. Every tilt of a shoulder became theory fodder. Every step felt rehearsed with intent, even if the intent was to leave room for imagination. It's a fine line between fiction and reality, between the roles we watch and the people we project onto them. That line blurred exquisitely under the ELLE spotlights. Ask anyone who stood near the carpet and they'll tell you it felt inevitable. For some, the moment was pure finesse, a woman building a bridge to the global conversation and a man choosing to be the steady hand on that railing. For others, it read as a power play calculated to the millimeter. Either way, it worked. Because memorable nights aren't about the dress alone, or the tux, or the headline, they're about a thesis delivered in image form. Sinem didn't just put on Mugler. She authored a preface. And Ozan didn't just show up, he underlined the text. Where does the chapter go next? If the whispers are right, the next weeks will be a blur of flights and fittings, rooms where decisions are made, and scripts that read less like offers and more like invitations. So, are we ready to watch Ozan Akbaba and Sinem Ünsal step beyond borders and claim the world stage? Because that is the real question left echoing after the cameras cooled. It's the question that follows a look meticulously chosen to swallow light, a posture tightly choreographed to suggest control, and a hush so deliberate it swallows speculation whole. Black wasn't just a color. It was punctuation. It was the period at the end of a rumor and the colon before an announcement. Dear Turkish series stars family, thank you for joining this deep read of an unforgettable night. If you believe black was the ultimate power move, type the words black hard in the comments so we know you caught the signal. If you want to support our work, hit the join button and become part of our backstage circle. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next twist in this story. Because we'll be there as the invitations land, as the calls get returned, and as the silence finally gives way to the kind of reveal that makes the whole room hold its breath. Until the next one, stay tuned, stay curious, and keep your eyes on the quietest messages. They're usually the ones that change everything.